The drama between Coleen Rooney and Rebekah Vardy is continuing as the latter has now launched an appeal bid against a ruling on costs in the latest stage of her Wagatha Christie libel battle. The Battle of the Wags had been ongoing since Coleen accused Rebekah of selling made-up stories about her to the press, resulting in a high-profile court case between the two. Mrs. Vardy sued her for libel, but Mrs. Justice Stein found in July 2022 that the allegation was substantially true. As a result, the judge ordered Mrs. Vardy to pay 90% of Mrs. Rooney's court costs, including an initial payment of £800,000. Mrs. Rooney's claimed legal bill minus £1,833,906.89 was more than 3 times her agreed costs budget of £540,779.07. Mrs. Vardy's legal representative, Jamie Carpenter KC, argued that this amount was disproportionate. In a 3-day hearing, lawyers for Mrs. Vardy, the wife of Leicester City striker Jamie Vardy, argued that the sum should be reduced due to what they said was serious misconduct by Mrs. Rooney's legal team, who allegedly, deliberately understated her costs. Robin Dunn, for Mrs. Rooney, said that there has been no misconduct, and that it was illogical to say that we misled anyone. Senior costs judge Andrew Gordon-Saker stated that Mrs. Rooney's legal team had not committed wrongdoing, and therefore it was not an appropriate case to reduce the amount of money that Mrs. Vardy should pay. He ruled that while there was a failure to be transparent, it was not sufficiently unreasonable or improper to constitute misconduct. He ordered Mrs. Vardy to pay Mrs. Rooney a further £100,000 ahead of the full amount owed being decided at a later date. Now, court documents show that Mrs. Vardy has launched an appeal bid, which her lawyers Kingsley Napley confirmed related to the misconduct ruling. While the legal battles continue, it is rumored that Coleen is set to appear in ITV's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Speculation suggests that she is due to be paid £1.5 million for the stint in the Australian jungle. Mrs. Rooney allegedly said that she wants to set the record straight about Wagatha Christie when she enters the jungle. An insider said that Coleen has been dismayed by how she has been portrayed during her High Court drama with Rebekah Vardy and wants to tell her truth.